Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out ProbateMastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit ProbateMastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. Okay, guys, everybody come on in, take your seats. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind weekly coaching call. We do this every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. That would be 11 for you guys out west, and something else for everybody in between. Welcome everybody in. I want to thank those of you that it's your first time here. I do see some faces that would appear to be new to me and some familiar faces. If you're new, or maybe you're watching this after the fact and would like to come to one of these live, this is an open session where you can ask questions, you can share your success stories, share your challenges, talk about the probate and the estate niche. We're all real estate professionals here. At least that's what I think. If you're here and you're not a real estate professional, but you work in the estate and the probate niche for your business, we would love to hear from you guys as well. I'm super grateful that everybody comes here, and I just encourage you guys to drop down and raise your hand if you have something to share or you want to ask a question about the space. I'm going to start with some content here in just a few minutes, but you can ask those questions, share your success stories at any point during this call. Just go to the reactions button at the bottom of the screen and raise your hand. Before we get started, I do want to mention to those of you that are new that Estate Professionals Mastermind is tied to Probate Mastery. Probate Mastery is our certification program. So if you are looking to make probate a significant part of your business, potentially close a few deals a month, in some cases, many, many, many more. Several of our coaching students and people that have been through Mastery are doing a dozen or more transactions per month out of the probate niche, and those are in competitive markets too. So there's a lot of opportunity in probate and estate in addition to the rest of your business. I'm never one of the people that says, hey, you need to build your entire business around probate and not do anything else. If you're an agent, you need to work your sphere of influence. You need to work your other niches. If you're an investor, you've got other sources of leads. I encourage you guys to work those, but also build systems into your probate business so that you can sustain a higher level of business. And that's what we're all about. So if you guys want to get certified, want to look into our class, ProbateMastery.com is where you can take that certification course. With that said, go ahead and put your hands up, share your success stories, ask your questions about probate, and I will call on you guys as I see hands. Let's start with Joe. Joe, what's happening?
Or good afternoon. Sorry.
Hey.
I'm on the West Coast, so it's still morning slightly.
Good. Yeah.
So I have two warm leads. One of them I have an appointment with next week, and she said she's already got a realtor, not looking to list until next year though, and she invited me to come take a look at the house for potential offer. So I'm wondering how you might approach still trying to pitch them as a listing agent to try to get a listing from them, even since they haven't committed. So that's kind of my first question. Then I have a second lead that I want to ask you about. That's a separate question, but I think we should start there.
So how would I pitch someone who thinks that they already have an agent and they're not going to do anything until next spring? First off, I would want to know why next spring is important.
Yeah, as far as I understand, she doesn't live in the house. She lives out of the city. She's not out of the state, but it's not, I think it was like her father's home or something like that. So I don't know if it's because of the probate or if it's because of her schedule. That's kind of my discovery that I want to find out next week. But I thought it was curious that she said to come over and look at the house and see, if I wanted to make an offer on it. So I don't know if she's tied to, I have to wait till next year.
Yeah. Or if she's tied to the agent that she thinks that she has. I've seen a lot
Exactly.
of times that FaceTime is really, really important. So, what I'm going to do is go in and just ask questions, explore the property, have look for little opportunities during that appointment to present some value and potentially give some advice. We want to keep the advice. Uh, I don't want to say keep it low, keep it small, but I wouldn't just go in there blasting her with a bunch of advice. But I'm looking for areas to offer advice. If you want to maximize your value, you might want to clean these closets out. You might want to paint that wall. Let's bring a roofer out to look at this roof. I can get someone out here. It won't cost you anything. I'm just looking for areas to offer advice without just going all in. Um, at that point, after a tour and after hopefully building some rapport, offering some advice, maybe even offering to connect her with a few people, I'm just looking for anyone that I can connect her with as
Right.
well. I'm gonna say, hey, could we go over here? Could we go to this table? Could we sit down and talk about a few of your options? Okay. And then just say, hey, I understand that you don't want to do anything until next spring. Tell me about that. That's one of the best questions slash statements that you could ever ask about anything that someone is, any position that someone is taken is tell me about that. I know it's a statement, but it's kind of inviting them to elaborate a little bit. And then you just get quiet and let them talk about about what it is about their price or their timing or their commitment to someone else that's what's drawn them to make take that position. And then maybe you say, "Ah, tell me more." And what else? These are all things that pull the conversation out. All you're really doing is you are looking really closely for loose threads in the conversation. They'll reveal some uncertainty. They'll reveal some information where maybe they're wrong. Don't jump on those and start correcting them, but just use that for later in the conversation or a different time. Um, then I'm going to take out a typically a seller options sheet. Seller option sheet is usually going to say, hey, this isn't an official offer, but if I were to make an offer, I'd probably be somewhere in this range. If I were to list the property, and I'm not trying to step on your agent's toes, but if I were to list the property, I would be in this range. And here's another list of things that I would do above and beyond a traditional listing. If you were gonna own or finance it, you'd get in this range. If we were to joint venture on this, you'd get in this range. So I'm just gonna lay out some options, and you don't have to go with those four options, but I'm gonna lay out really basic, like low level. And I'm trying to word this the right way. I'm trying to keep it at a 30,000 foot view without without going into amazing detail. I want her to look more at a general price range, general prices on those options, and then say, are any of these worth a further conversation? And see
Hmm.
where she takes the
I like it.
conversation. Okay. And maybe she takes it toward the listing. And I've found that a lot of people will take it toward the listing, even if they had another agent in mind, especially if they see that you're doing more for them than a traditional listing agent's going to do. Put a sign in the yard, put it in the MLS, and pray.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That's great. And then what my part two, second question, my other lead, they they referred me to their attorney. So they just said, call my attorney to talk to them. How do you deal with those?
Ah, that's the best.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what I thought. I'm like, I want to talk to the attorney, right? Because that could be
Yeah.
another lead on top of that, because the attorney could become a future lead.
Yeah, absolutely. So bring the attorney up. Hey, we have a, mutual client. They asked me to call you. That same thing with the gatekeeper. I understand that the attorney is working with this client. They have asked me to reach out to you or to the attorney. Could you have them give me a call? And then at that point, you're just going to say, yeah, I provide a myriad of different services, including real estate, but I also do estate preservation, property cleanouts, estate sales, just different services. Your client had asked me to give you a call and find out where everything was in the process. And then, and then just through conversation, I'm going to say something like later in that call, I'm going to say something like, hey, I do this a lot. One of the things that I'm always looking for is an attorney that I can trust with my clients because I run into clients periodically that need help. Would love to stop by and see your practice one day. Is there a time in the next week or two that I could do that? And now you've moved the attorney conversation to the next level.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Love it.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Good job, man. Good,
Yeah.
good job going after it.
We're
Appreciate you.
moving and shaking.
Good stuff. Thanks for asking the questions. Let's go to Catherine. Catherine, how are you? How can we help?
Good day. Thank you for your time, Mr. Hill. Today's my first call with you guys for the probate. I'm a real estate broker, 25 years, helped a variety of different people. But I have been wanting to move into the probate direction. And so, outside of your sphere of influence and all the things that you have to do, how would you suggest, and I will be going for the probate mastery, but how would you suggest kind of starting out on a lead gen within this within this niche?
Yeah, so when you say lead gen, are you referring to getting your list or are you referring to moving a list into a relationship?
Well, so I can work with my title company and they can get me a list of, names and kind of break it down on demographics. So I guess maybe what are some key points if I'm getting a list that I should be focused on? And
Hmm.
then any other suggestions kind of moving into that as far as a starter. If
Sure,
that
this
makes
is,
sense without
yeah,
giving away too much. Yeah.
oh, this absolutely makes a ton of sense, and this is kind of a perfect segue. A lot of times when we start these calls out, it takes 10 minutes for hands to go up. Hands went up a little bit faster today. I had a list of baby steps that I wanted to walk you guys through, and this is just a perfect question to set up those baby steps. So I'll kind of speak to you and
Happy to help.
everybody else. Yeah. So, um, first step in getting into the probate niche is the learning baby step. Now, I want to make it really clear that you guys are going to mix and match your baby steps. Sometimes you're going to be working on something in the learning phase while you're also working on something in step 8 for your business or step 4 for your business. So you don't have to finish your learning phase before you make a prospecting call. While you're making prospecting calls, you can also be working on building your team. But in general, you're going to put more of an emphasis in the beginning into the learning phase. And the learning phase is take your courses, watch our YouTube channel, go to the courthouse. Please go to the courthouse, even if you're buying your leads or getting a list somewhere. I still encourage people to go to the courthouse and get to know the probate process. If your probate court hearings are public, sit in those court hearings. It's kind of like evictions court or traffic court at the courthouse, where it's not one family sitting with one judge or magistrate. It's usually 4 or 5 families in the room at the same time, and one will be up front talking to the judge, and the others are just sitting in the background. So you sitting in the background, listening to what they say is a great way to learn as well. So in your learning phase, and there's tons more to this, but the basics are go to the courthouse, take Probate Mastery, go to probably our Probate Mastery YouTube channel. Those are the biggest 3 steps that I would take in learning. Phase number 2 is prospect. Okay. In other words, make contact. And this is with the heirs directly. So we've got another phase of prospecting for our vendors and our attorneys, but with the heirs directly. When you prospect, you have to realize that people aren't going to be quick to invite you to a listing appointment or to purchase their loved one's house. A lot of times these houses are free and clear, and the family has other things on their plate. So phase 2 or step 2 in the baby steps is at least make contact and figure out who you can begin to farm market to. So some people in the real estate space have farmed and they'll basically just pick a neighborhood or a zip code and they'll start blasting everyone with mailers, and they don't realize that it's only about 5%, if that, of the people that they're mailing are going to sell. So I prefer to build my farming list differently by identifying people that I think have a high likelihood of selling in the next year. No better way to do that than to have an initial phone conversation and figure out what someone's plans might be in 6 months, 6 or 12 months later in probate. So I want to have those conversations without pushing people too hard. Yes, there's skill to being able to turn someone that's not ready yet into an appointment. You can do that. But in the beginning, you're probably not going to turn a lot of these people into appointments. You're going to turn them into a warm pipeline that you can market to. Okay, so have phone conversations. Step three is going to be warm market. And I'm not going to go through all these. I've got about 12 different steps, but I'm going to go through the ones that are really important. So step three is warm mail campaign, warm marketing campaign. Everyone that you've talked to on the phone that you believe is going to end up selling a house needs to get warm mail marketing from you. And it's not only mail. There can be social media, there can be emails, there's different things that you can put into this, but mail is probably the thing that I would work on first. Step four is going to be a cold mail marketing campaign. So if I can't reach someone on the phone, I'm going to have another campaign of cold mail that runs out after I've tried someone 7 or 8 times on the phone and they haven't answered. At that point, I go, I think I need to kick off some cold mailers to try a different way of establishing communication. Step five is build your vendor list. So get your team together. This would be estate sale companies, assisted living communities. This would be clean out crews, attorneys, financial planners, contractors, just different people like that. The whole list is in Probate Mastery, but you want to focus on getting your vendor team together. I think that's step five. Step six is systemize. So make sure that you're working on your business and you're creating systems. This would be email campaigns. Maybe you're hiring. Maybe you've got a little bit of you're putting a spin on your listing appointments, things like that, but systemize. And then after that, everything else just starts to be more of the same. So there's some other steps, but most of them are making yourself better at the initial steps that you took. So get to the courthouse, take mastery. Not to make this too much of a commercial. I hate commercials on these calls, but mastery and the courthouse are going to teach you so much. And then start working on your conversation technique and skill, and make sure that you are remembered with your warm mail marketing after you've had a conversation. And don't be surprised if someone who ends up selling a house tells you in the beginning, yeah, we don't know what we're going to do with the house yet. Yeah, it's too early to tell. That's an answer I get all the time. And that answer normally means we're going to sell the house and we either have too much on our plate right now or we don't want to tell a stranger on the phone. We don't want to show our hand. So those are people who are great seller leads. Great seller leads. Maybe they just didn't tell you the first time you had a conversation. Okay. So Catherine, anything else? Does that help? Do I need to dive deeper into any of that?
Nope, that was perfect. I kind of just needed a direction on, which way to start. That was perfect. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. I had another hand a little bit ago whose hand was up. Let me, yep. Number two is prospect. That was Douglas. Douglas, how are you? Go ahead and unmute
I'm doing
yourself.
well, Bruce. Hello, everybody. Bruce, land deals that I've been courting for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing one of them did not want to put it on the market, but was willing to pay me a commission if I could bring her a buyer. I'm presenting an offer today, and it's exactly what she wants.
Great. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. How do you know what she wants?
Congratulations.
She told me. Thank you,
Okay,
Catherine.
perfect. Yeah, she told you. That's awesome. I love it. Good. And exactly what she wants. Does it match her time frame?
She's going to have to
What's the
adjust to the fact that some permits need to be put in place, but there's a massive down payment coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's after a 60-day feasibility.
Okay, perfect. I love it.
Massive earnest money, I meant.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations. This is it's been a long path to these deals, but they are big ones. So
I
these
know.
are
I know.
career changing
Yeah.
deals
Well,
that
I
you're
got
working
another
on.
one that's career changing, which I just stumbled on. I stumbled on it, and she had an $8 million property, and I went to visit her, and her husband passed away. And she wants to sell the property, but she wants to do a 1031 exchange.
Hmm.
So I thought, oh my God, okay, great. So I
Hmm.
went to meet her, and it turns out she has a portfolio, and the tax assessed value of the portfolio alone is 22 million, and she wants to sell that all of it and do a 1031 exchange for the same amount.
Wow. Wow.
I'm
Oh,
in I'm
that's
in over my head, but I've reached out for help, and I've got some talented people helping me with it because it's complicated, but it's definitely doable.
well, good job, man. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Well, it's just that consistency, like you keep saying, and I'm only skimming the surface of what you're coaching, Bruce. I just can't wait till I get better dialed in.
Well,
You
let's
know?
do it.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly. I'm all in. Thank you, Thomas.
Good stuff. Thanks, Douglas. Appreciate you. Okay, I had a chatted in question. Let me go to it real quick, and then we'll come to Sandra. So I don't have a hand to raise. Can you please go over the vendor list again? So, vendor list, my gosh, this is scratching the surface of the vendor list. The reality is, I don't want anyone to get hung up on the vendor list. Grace, I am going to answer your question. I'm going to do my best to answer the question. I think it's very important that you guys recognize that a lot of people get super hung up on the vendor list and they feel like if they don't have everyone, then they don't have anyone. And the reality is, I still run into prospects that need things that I don't have a connection for. Or I have a connection and the connection ghosts me. Literally, my handyman just ghosted me this morning. He was supposed to show up at a property. I need a new handyman. Okay, so when you find a need that one of your clients has, recognize that you don't have to have that relationship yet to still fill that need. So your statement or your question is, if I could find someone to take care of this for you, would you want me to do that? And of course, the answer most of the time is going to be yes. And that you're not promising that you're going to find a connection. It's a, if I can find a connection for you, would you want me to take care of that? And if you don't have it, it's worth a lot of income to your business to go find that person. If somebody needs an antique dealer or an antiques appraiser, who is someone that I've told you guys you need on your vendor list for a long time, I don't have one. I haven't needed one. I should go find one. But if I were to go to a property today and someone says, "Hey, yeah, I just need an antiques dealer or an appraiser," I would. And Thomas is waving. That's you. Yeah. If that was the case, I would go find one.
Yeah.
These commissions are worth enough to go find someone, even if you don't have them. So if you don't have it, you can still put yourself in a position to be the solution for someone. And don't let that hold you back from marketing and prospecting and offering solutions, even if you don't have the perfect vendor. Now, with that said, I think it's important that you guys start with a few different vendors. So vendors that I would start with, and I'm probably going to leave a few off of my list. Just write down suite of contractors. So that's going to include your handyman, your roofers, your electricians, your general contractors, your window installers. Just know a contractor for the majority of those situations. You're going to want a PNC insurance agent. Why? Because many of these houses are vacant, and it's important that they have a vacant property insurance rider on the home. Um, some insurance policies cover damage to vacant properties without a rider. Some insurance companies don't cover damage to properties that are vacant, period. They don't even have a rider available. So this is a conversation you need to have with your prospect and your leads is the house vacant? If it's vacant, does their insurance cover damage to vacant properties? If the answer is no, you need to connect them with your insurance agent. A financial advisor. Couple of reasons why I want financial advisors. Number one is we're dealing with people that are coming into an inheritance, and your financial advisors might want to co-market with you and help you offset some of your marketing cost. Another reason is financial advisors refer estate planning attorneys. And that's the easiest way. If I have a few good financial advisors on my list, that's the easiest way to get introduced to the attorney relationships that I want. Okay, so try to provide value to those financial planners, but recognize that they're probably going to provide more value to you through the introductions that they can make to their estate planning attorneys. So estate planning attorney, that's going to be another one. I don't want one. I want as many as I can get. And I'm going to do my best to spread some co-marketing around to the attorneys that I'm working with. I'm going to do my best to bring them leads when I can. I want enough of them, same with financial planners, to where I can't just load one up with all my referrals and all my marketing, but I'm going to try to make sure that I'm giving a little bit of value to every one of those on my list. Estate planning attorneys are also typically probate attorneys. Typically, it's not necessarily that they always do probate and estate planning, but most of the time, if they do estate planning, they also do probate. If they do probate, they probably also do estate planning. You want an estate sale company or two. You want a property preservation company, specifically a company that does property cleanouts. You want landscaper, you want a locksmith, and I think that's you want someone to clean the gutters. Okay, so that's probably go get an appraiser on your team so that you can provide appraised values to people, accountants. List can go on and on, but I'm going to stop with those. Okay, hopefully that helps. If there's any follow-up questions to that from who had asked that, Grace, just chat it in. I'll be happy to answer. For now, I'm going to go to Sandra, though. Sandra, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
We can. Yep.
Awesome. So this is my first meeting. I missed the beginning I had a phone call. So I was on the alt meeting. I don't know if you were there, all the leads.
Oh,
and I had just had my first meeting with Steve Carney, and he recommended that. I didn't realize that there were two different, I guess, webinars going on. I was very confused. And
yes.
So then he told me to go to your website to see if because I have the certificate, but I got it in 2015. So I'm a little rusty.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if, because I already had the certificate, can I retake the classes just to update my skills?
Yeah, if it's the certified probate expert certificate, yes. Then yes. Now in 2015, Chad would have been running the program back then, and we probably did not have the software that we have now. So
I bet. I'm a little
if you're
behind.
not in there, let me know and I'll make sure, send me your certificate or whatever, and I'll make sure that to turn access on for you.
So what am I supposed to have access to?
If you have the certificate,
yes,
then email that to me, and then I'll turn your access on to the Probate Mastery course.
And can you give me your email or where to send it?
Sure, yeah, you can send it to support@probatemastery.com. Back in 2015, Chad was probably doing live classes. I'm not even 100% sure that he had I guess he did. I took it in 2015 as well. That's the first year I took it. So, but I don't know if I got the certificate or not back then.
I did right away. And then I see on your calendar, you have something role playing. Can you talk a little bit about what that is?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, typically every other Wednesday, and most of the time Courtney Rollins leads a role play call. If you're on the East Coast, it's 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon. If you're Pacific time. It's going to be 9:30 in the morning, and we'll get on for about an hour, and people come up and they test their skills. They're either doing that with a peer who's playing the role of a prospect, or me or Courtney playing the role of the prospect. We'll just be taking notes over on our side, like Courtney will take notes or I'll take notes as to little tiny clues that we left hanging out there, or opportunities that maybe you might have walked past, something like that. So we'll just do a little bit of a short amount of critiquing after the call. Nobody goes without a critique, even the best. There's always little things that we can do to make some adjustments. So we just kind of critique that a little bit for those that want to role play or want to listen in. I encourage everyone to please try your hand at the call. Now, from a technique standpoint, you can wing it. A lot of people want to wing it. Some people want to go with scripts. We give some scripts in Probate Mastery. I go through kind of a deep dive in the coaching program that we have. We usually deep dive in skill and technique and outline structures for calls in coaching. So you're going to get a little bit of the script and structure and mastery, enough to be good, and then you're going to perfect it. Anyone who's a part of the coaching program is really going to work on perfecting it. And we've got people that come and role play every week that have never taken mastery and aren't in coaching, and they're doing great. So I'm not trying to say you're not going to do good if you don't take mastery or you don't go through coaching, but it's a huge emphasis in both of those programs.
And then you also have some marketing materials. I would think when you're saying do some mailings, do you have that available on the site as well?
In Probate Mastery, there is cold marketing material, cold marketing. So there's probably 10 or 15 letters in there, a couple of postcard samples as well. I'm going to encourage you guys, probably warm those up a little bit if you've had a conversation with someone. The same letters that are written toward a cold audience, a cold lead that you've never spoken with, can still be used with just a few tweaks to the introduction and things. So all those are in the Probate Mastery course.
Great. Awesome. Glad to be
Awesome.
here.
Good. Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate it. And just to clear up any possible confusion, because Sandra had confusion, a lot of times people will go to the Probate Mastery Thursday coaching call, and they'll see me there. And I put my all the leads background there because I am there on behalf of Probate Mastery, but it's all the leads coaching call. I used to run the training for all the leads. We're really, really, really great friends. I don't work there. The companies aren't together. We just support each other. So anyone who's kind of confused over that, just know that that two separate companies. When all the leads does training, it's normally, with a few exceptions, it's normally going to be routing you guys through me at Probate Mastery. And they do some of their own independent training from time to time, like they have staff coaches that you just met with Steve, and different things like that. But it is two different companies. All right, perfect. Thanks, Sandra. Okay, what else, guys? Who else? Any other questions? Is there a list of probate properties somewhere that can be accessed? I'm going to go through a list of cheap ways to access probate leads and expensive ways to access probate leads. A lot of this is going to have to do with your time and whether you value your pocketbook more or your time more. And everybody's going to be a little bit different. So if you want free leads, go to the courthouse. Some court systems, sometimes it's statewide, sometimes it's just countywide. Some court systems will actually publish their list of probates online. That makes it really easy, but it always starts with going to the courthouse. You need to go to the courthouse. You need to see what the application process is like. Maybe take a sample of the application. Your clients are going to want to know this at some point in the future, so it makes good content. Ask the clerk where probate records are published. Basically, they'll either tell you go back here on this computer system, go through this file cabinet, or go online. They'll kind of tell you what to do. If it's online, just go online. You'll get some good information. It's still time intensive. You've got to kind of sort through leads and lists and figure out who's who. But it's kind of the free way of getting probate leads. At that point, you need to skip trace them because they're not going to come with all the contacts and all the phone numbers. So you could skip trace your list through places like Forewarn. I'm just going to give you guys a list. Forewarn, Propelio. I use Propelio for single property skip tracing or single individual skip tracing. Propelio, IDI data is one of my favorites when I have a really big list. That's kind of the close to the cream of the crop from skip tracing, but they're also a bit more expensive. They're over $1 a lead to skip trace, but you get really, really good data. Batch skip is another one. So once you identify your lead, then you need to skip trace it. You can get most of these leads skip traced for 20 cents. Unless it's through IDI data, then it's over $1, but it's going to be better skip tracing and better data that you get. Now, if you want to just buy your lead list, a couple of companies that I really like, my preference is All the Leads. I've got an amazing relationship with them, alltheleads.com. If you talk to them, if you guys aren't getting leads now and you talk to them, tell them that you came from me. I'd appreciate that. So All the Leads, they're going to be probably kind of the cream of the crop from a leads provider standpoint. They give you multiple heirs, multiple phone numbers. They give you email addresses for everyone. They give you property address for the personal representative, property address for the decedent, and a pretty good CRM along with it. You get your leads about once a month with All the Leads. Their pricing is a shade higher than most of the other lead companies that are out there, but I think it's well worth the extra data that you get. And by a shade, we're talking 5 or 10% higher than some of the others that are out there. Now, on the flip side, and I do not have a relationship with these guys, but on the flip side of buying data is Foreclosures Daily. Foreclosures Daily. I think that they deliver about once every week, and they'll usually give you your list in a spreadsheet format. So I've never bought their list, but I've got a lot of clients that have bought their list. So typically spreadsheet format doesn't have all the best skip tracing or things, but the price is really, really affordable. And then there's a number of other lead providers out there, and I'm happy to go over those at some point in the future. But All the Leads, probably if you're willing to pay a little bit more money and get what I would consider better data, that's my subjective opinion. If you're willing to get data that might not be quite as good, but a cheaper list with more frequent delivery, Foreclosures Daily. And then recognize that just because you don't get a lead the day that it comes out or the week that it comes out doesn't mean you've lost that opportunity. There's a wave of conversions in a probate list that hits around the 6-month mark and another wave of conversion that hits around the 1-year mark. So if you guys are the 4th person to call someone, remember, it's not necessarily a race to be the first person to have a conversation. It's more a race to be the first person to be remembered. That's the most important thing, is that they remember you when it comes time to sell a house. Many of them are not going to pull the trigger right away. And if they do pull the trigger right away, which some do, if they do, then you really haven't had a lot of time to stand out or build credibility. So they're likely going to be interviewing a bunch of people if they sell right away, or potentially going to the realtor or the investor that they already knew. So if you, that would be the benefit of getting leads faster, but recognize that in my business, I'm in it for the 6-month wave and the 1-year wave. That's where you get tons of potential business. Okay. Let's go to Annali. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce your name.
No, it's
Correct me.
Annali. You were close
Annali.
though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I work with a probate attorney. She's often assigned as the referee. So she sends me stuff usually. I'm looking to pick up more attorneys though. I enjoy working with them. They talk business. I have a lot of investors, so it's kind of my niche.
Yeah.
with that though, I'm struggling trying to get in front of the attorneys. Like, you know, they always have a paralegal that checks their mail. They don't, return phone calls. Like, besides like sitting outside their office, which I don't have time for, how do I actually get the attention of these attorneys? Because I know
Yeah.
they would appreciate me because I'm good and I know
Yeah.
the process and I'm good with like the crazy tenants or the crazy ex-boyfriend that, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
whoever's in the house, I know how to handle them. I'm used to it, skilled. So
Yep.
I just don't know how to connect to them.
So we have to ask ourselves what attorneys want. What attorneys want. Now, of course, they want their clients to get taken care of if they refer. So that's kind of a no-brainer. They want their probate process to be easier so they can get paid faster, especially if they're not billing by the hour, if maybe the state sets their rate. Like I'm sure if you're working with a referee, that might be in California, probably, but I might be wrong.
I'm in Nebraska.
Nebraska. So not
Nebraska and
every
I.
state has referees. The majority don't. So that's why California is a big one that has referees. So those are things that attorneys want, but they don't want those things bad enough to call you back. Okay. So what do they want bad enough to call you back? What do they want bad enough to call you?
They want the household so it can be off their desk.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, maybe. I think that I think they want that a little bit. I think they want referrals. Okay. I think they want to grow their business. All right. Now, I am very careful when I approach an attorney not to say, "Hey, I get dozens of these and I want to send you all my business." That's not what I do because that's not believable. Okay. So I want them to feel like having a relationship with me could lead to a growth in their business, not necessarily getting through probate faster, get their clients getting through probate faster. In general, when they don't know a realtor, attorneys consider themselves above realtors. Okay. And I'm generalizing, guys. I know they don't all do this. But in general, attorneys look at realtors and they're like, ha, you and your 2-week class and little piddly test. I went through 3 years of school and I passed the bar and I specialized in this. And here you are, you took Bruce's course and it took you 15 hours and you're a certified probate expert. That's laughable. And they go mocking internally, okay? And I'm projecting, all right? Um, but for the most part, showing up to an attorney being like, "Hey, I'll help you get through probate faster than you get your clients through it now," that's not necessarily believable to someone who already thinks that they're better than the real estate agent or the real estate investor that's approaching them. So we've got to find something else that they want. And to me, that's referrals and that's business growth. Okay. Now, once we're in conversation, now is when I talk about getting the file off their desk faster, making their client's process easier, selling the house so they can be done with it. That's when I talk about those, but that's not the bait that's going to get the attorney to have the meeting. The bait that's going to get the attorney to have the meeting is your business is going to grow. And they can't feel like it's just another sales pitch. So I always downplay this while still alluding to it. And normally this is with the gatekeeper. So most attorneys, most of those conversations are not with the attorney in the beginning unless I was introduced to them somehow. Okay, so gatekeeper, hey, my name's Bruce. This is on the phone. Almost never a walk-in. I will walk into an attorney's office, but once I have a connection. So on the phone, my name's Bruce. I'm in the real estate space, and I'm finding as my business grows, I'm finding more and more of my clients are needing to set up estate plans, trusts, and going through the probate process. It's not every day. And this is where I make it more believable by saying it's not every day. So I'm not like, hey, I have all these clients. All these clients are where you're gonna kind of make your story unbelievable. So I'm finding more and more that this is kind of this niche I'm working in, and I kind of have been thinking I need a really good attorney that I can trust my clients to? Are you guys taking new clients? Are you taking new clients? Yes. Listen, I'd love to stop by the office for 10 or 15 minutes at some point in the next week or two and see your practice. Is that okay? Or and hopefully I've asked that of the attorney. Hopefully at that point, could I have a meeting, or could I have a 5 minute conversation with the attorney? If the gatekeeper is still trying to gatekeep, then I would, instead of can I would say, if you were me, how would you go about arranging a 5 minute conversation with the attorney? That'll kind of take them out of their shoes and put them in your shoes. Okay. And then the conversation with the attorney is, again, you're just going to repeat that same thing. I'm finding that some of my clients are in need of setting up trusts and estates. And in some cases, I'm running into people that need to go through probate, and I need a good attorney that I can send them to. Okay. Arrange a 10 or 15 minute meeting at the office. And during that meeting, toward the end of that meeting, most of that meeting is going to be asking them about their practice. But toward the end of it, I want to present some of the things that I do. And at that point, I don't expect them to lay down. If they lay down and they say, hey, I'm going to send you all my people, I call BS. Like I don't think it's that easy. I hope it's that easy, but I don't think it's that easy. I've had a dozen attorneys that have said, hey, I'm going to send you all my people. How many of them have? None. Okay. I get my business from the attorneys that required a little bit more schmoozing. And I don't mean really schmoozing. Well, I actually do. I'll go out of my way and schmooze the attorney that I've had that conversation with. I invite them to things. I'm dropping by the office with gifts. I'm really, really working that relationship, and it'll take a few months. So that's how I go about breaking through the gatekeeper with attorneys, by offering what I know the attorney wants. And guess what? Sometimes they say, no, I don't need any more business. And that's okay. If I offer that to 5 attorneys, 3 are going to say, yeah, I'd love to meet your clients, come by the office. 2 are kind of going to be jerks. And I don't mind the jerks because I don't reach out to one and done. I'll go to a few. All right. How's that? Good? Cool. TJ.
Hey, sorry I was late here. I got caught up and something. I
You're good, man.
apologize, but it looks like I came in on the right time. That something with attorneys is actually something I'm very focused on. And I found I was striking out because it was like, hey, I can help you do your job better, and they don't, of course, they don't think that they need me to do their job better. But sharing my audience with them, it seems to really help. So whether it's through YouTube or in-person seminars or anything like that, getting them in front of a group of people, they absolutely, well, most of them that I've talked to really love that. And I'm telling them now, like, my goal is every time I get you in front of my audience, my goal is to get you at least one referral. And so far it's happened. I don't promise it, but I said, it usually happens where you get a referral somewhere here and there. And it seemed to have worked out so far, but it is a slow roll. I mean, you got to build that trust in that business. But if I'm just giving them value by getting them in front of my audience and letting them talk, and then on the flip side of the coin is, like, everybody loves free legal advice. So you have really no problem getting an audience in front of them. If you're just the catalyst that puts them together, that really is, it goes a long way with the attorneys and the people that you bring in to talk to them.
Attorneys love a new audience.
Mm-hmm.
They love it. A lot of them go so far as to run these webinars or seminars alone anyway. So if they have someone that'll set it up and run it and pay for it for them, and they don't have to do that, they were going to do the seminar anyway. Not all of them, but a lot of them were going to do that webinar or seminar anyway. Why not do it for/with them?
Yeah. And here's my goal is, I'm from the Atlanta area, and there's a couple of attorneys that do a really good job of YouTube videos and have really good big following on YouTube. So my goal is to collaborate with one or a couple of them and share it on our YouTube channels. That's the goal. So I'll keep you posted on that, but that's what I'm working towards.
We'll do it, man. I'm
I'm trying.
excited.
I'm trying.
This is something. Reach out to me and let me know if you want the. Well, I think I gave you the list of questions that I like to ask on YouTube. You probably have some of your own too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's the
Cool.
goal though, is to kind of share the collaborate. I think that'll make my channel pop off
Yeah.
for sure.
Awesome. All right. Douglas, when's the next Probate Mastery? I don't have live dates for Probate Mastery picked out. Again, schedule's a little bit tight. For those that do want to know, every now and then we do Probate Mastery live. For the most part, if you take it, it's going to be on demand. You're going to take it at your own pace with in our course library. If you do sign up, you will get invited when we do it live again, and I just don't have dates for that. Probably end of the year, but don't hold me to that. All right. Any other questions, guys? We are 10 minutes before the top of the hour. I don't necessarily want to end early, but I will end early if nobody has any questions. So raise your hands, please. Let me know what you guys are working on, wins, success stories, what your challenges are, or what questions you have. Let's go to Catherine again. Go for it. Oh, I muted you on accident. I meant to lower your hand. There you go.
Oh, okay. Sorry
Yeah.
to be that person in class. So
Oh, I love it. This is good. There's always
right.
one or two, and I
Yeah,
always welcome the one
that'd
or
be me.
two. Yeah.
That'd be me.
Yeah.
So understanding how difficult it is to get in front of attorneys and their airs about them, and kind of piggybacking off of what Mr. McGraw just said. If you want, in your experience, if you wanted to put together an event, so like I have a estate planner, right? But she's super busy, so it's hard to coordinate with her. But what would you say would be a good offering to say, hey, I'm hosting this class or I'm hosting this, a seminar event, and I would like for you to be a speaker, a featured speaker there. What do you think are the triggering motivational words that would make them want to be a part of it without it being transactional, if that makes sense?
I
And
just
thank you,
added,
Mr. McGraw. Your information was really great.
yeah, I just added TJ to the stage, Mr. McGraw,
Mr. McGraw. Yeah. TJ's
to the
fine.
platform. See if he wants to
Yeah.
chime in on that as well.
Well, I can tell you this, like I really don't look at the effort any different than if I'm following up with a lead. It's kind of the same type of effort. You still have to reach out multiple times, and its persistence is what will get you an answer. Whether it's you just pique their curiosity because you just won't stop trying to contact them, or they're like, I guess if this guy's never going to stop, or this person's never going to stop unless I at least take a phone call, or it's just out of like they remember you, or they've been a lot of them like, oh, I've been meaning to call you, and but they're busy, like you said. So I think the promise for them is just that, hey, I have an audience, and what I like to do is change up the attorney so we hear different information. I'm planning another event, or I'm planning another webinar online, or I'm looking to interview another attorney from my YouTube channel. Would that interest you? And I always add in, and just because of my experience, I said my goal is to get at least one referral for you. And I just say it's my goal. I don't promise it. I said, but my goal is to get at least one referral for you from anytime you appear with me in front of my audience. And that usually I don't even really have to say that. I just really just started saying that because it seems to be a nice little cherry on top.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's most of them are happy to get in front of new people for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I'll say something really similar is, hey, one of the things that I find that I need to do is I have a lot of people that need to create an estate plan, need to create a trust. Maybe they don't know that they need it, but I've got I've got a strong audience, and I'm always looking to invite them to things that they need to do. I was wondering if you'd like to speak to them. I don't know any
Thank you.
reasonable attorney. This is really big for me. I'm going to say this over and over and over again. When I craft language, I'm always trying to craft the question that I ask, the statement I make with the question that I ask, where I can say, I don't know anyone that's a reasonable person that would say no to this. Now, if everyone says no, obviously I've crafted it wrong. But for the most part, if I get a no occasionally, I can just chalk it up to, okay, that person's not reasonable, because we all know there's unreasonable people out there. But I always want to craft the offer that I make with the question that comes after it, along the lines of, if I offer this and ask this question of a reasonable person, can they say no? And if they can't, if I don't see a way they can say no, I've got a good offer. I do that with attorneys. I do that with my vendors. I definitely do that with my leads. I'm trying to craft an offer and ask a question that they can't say no to. Alex Hermosi calls it make an offer so good that they feel stupid saying no. All right. If you guys get that one phrase down, make an offer so good they feel stupid saying no, your business is going to be changed. All right, cool.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for-
much, Bruce. Thank you.
Definitely. Let's grab Douglas.
Oh, yeah, there's one more thing I forgot to mention, Bruce, and I'll be real quick. That deal that I put together where I'm bringing a builder to make a full price offer, I also negotiated the resale of all the build out.
Amazing.
That's huge. That's much larger than the initial sale.
Super congrats, Douglas. That's awesome.
Thank you, Catherine.
Awesome. So someone asked in chat if I could share a list of my questions to attorneys. So I am going to go through and read off a handful of my questions. I got to find it, so I'm going to babble for a minute while I search for my document. All right. Attorney interview. Okay, so I'm breaking these into a few different sections. Now, the beautiful thing, if you do these interviews on Zoom or some sort of a screen recording, is you can then turn these interviews into dozens of videos, dozens. You can publish the whole thing on YouTube. You could chop it into little bites, like little sections. You could chop it into single questions and answers. There's so many different ways that you could use this. So the first type of question that I'm going to ask about is about their business. I'll give a few examples of these in a minute. Second is understanding the estate and probate process. So that's another section of questions, understanding the estate and probate process. Okay, next question is probate mistakes. Next session is best practices. Next section is common probate difficulties. So a few questions that I might ask. What market areas do you serve? Tell me a little bit about your business. Do you have any specialties? What does a client get when they work with you? Okay, other questions are, how can someone avoid probate? Very, very important. You want your living audience to avoid probate. Probate's a bear. I hope people don't have to go through it, especially if I can get in front of them and teach them how to not go through it. What happens if a decedent passes away without a will? Okay, what's the attorney's role when there is a will versus no will? Now, hopefully you guys already know the answers to these. These are just good questions to kind of get attorneys talking and talking at layman's terms, where they're really speaking to the masses that really are ignorant to these. What are the basic processes for opening probate I live in Wake County, okay? Do administrators or personal representatives get paid? That would be a question that you could ask. What happens if there's a dispute between family members? Are there any big mistakes that you see most families make during probate? That's a doozy. I've had good success asking that, good conversation asking that. What's the best advice you could give a client who's in probate, who is probating an estate? Can families sell personal property during probate? Can families sell real estate during probate? What's the best time to sell vacant property if you're in probate? That would be another good question. And I'm just going to give you guys one more. What happens when unwanted real estate is upside down? I just picked from my questions sort of at random. Here's the thing. I do, I'm not trying to gatekeep information. I do hold back a few things for coaching, guys. This is going to be a document I hold back from coaching for coaching, but let me tell you, whether you're in coaching, you're in mastery, you're not spending any money, and you're taking advantage of free education like this, all great. Doesn't matter where you are in that journey. My goal is to get your brain working. That's my goal. And even if you're paying me for weekly coaching, I'm still gonna try to get your brain working. Instead of just saying, hey, say this in this way, I'm trying to give you nuggets that you can grab a hold of and then say, okay, now that I've got these 7 or 8 different questions Bruce asked, what are some other spin-off questions I can ask? Okay, so I'm going to encourage those of you that are planning to interview attorneys, specifically for like a YouTube channel or a seminar or webinar or something like that. I'm going to encourage you guys, take that list of questions. And I know I went through it fast. This recording will be available on YouTube for those that missed it. It'll also be available in our Facebook group, Estate Professionals Mastermind. For those that missed it, it takes a day or two for us to get it up. Go through, write those questions down, and then say, in these categories, what are some other questions that I can ask? I have too many questions. Too many. You could ask those. I guess I don't know how many questions I gave you, maybe 8. You could ask those and fill up an hour with a conversational attorney. If you took the other questions that I have, you could fill up 3 hours. It could be a long form podcast if you want. You don't need them though. Okay, you could come with 7 or 8 good questions and fill up more than enough time for very, very good informative video that'll do great for your marketing and the attorney's marketing. But I want you guys to take those as kind of nuggets and say, how can I build around these, and what other questions could be great follow-up questions, and come up with your own list. I'm very big into teaching people how to fish instead of catching your fish. Okay, so hopefully that was a good start for some of you, and yeah, and you guys run with it. But I love TJ's idea. Those that have attorneys, you know how valuable it is. Go get more. Make sure that you're thinking of it as what can I offer an attorney that they want, that's attractive, and of course they want some of those other things, but not enough to call a stranger back. But when you have a client or potentially clients for them, that'll make them call you back. All right. If I don't have any other questions, and I don't think that I do, I appreciate everybody being here. This video is going to be up within the next day or two. If you're not in the Estate Professionals Mastermind Facebook group, please go join. It'll be published there. If you're not following Probate Mastery on YouTube, go follow us there. It gets published. I want you guys to get notified when this is out. And if it's your first time here, come back next week. We do it every single week. Appreciate everybody being here. Thanks so much. Have a good day.